And this is indeed the draft for game number 2. At least I hope so, because if we don't have the draft for game number 2, that means that somebody gave me the wrong link. And I hope that didn't happen. So here we are. We've got a ban out of Severog by Reborn.
Yeah, so proficiency definitely won out his lane there. I mean, it was kind of expected with the Severog. He didn't have the Quang counter pick, so Reborn sort of hurt themselves a bit by banning Quang and then letting Severog go through. But definitely a strong ban here. Proficiency did very good work on that pick, and we'll have to see how Oxygen responds. I actually see the Muriel again.
It's a hero that's been banned out both times by the teams. I also want to mention that we don't actually have a... Well, let me check this real quick, but I don't think that we swapped sides from the last game, so we're going to stay with Oxygen on the Dawn side and Reborn on Dusk.
So yeah, we see the Muriel band out here. Again, Oxygen, I presume they're going for that pick-oriented style. They won't have the Severog to complement, but as you can see, they pick up the Quang here. This is definitely to be expected. They want to pick the strongest offlaner possible for the 1v1. With Severog gone, Quang becomes the next priority instead of the other way around. We see the Rampage first pick for Reborn again. We'll see if this goes jungle this time, or if they do put it back in offlane, we could be seeing the same story here.
I do want to talk about that a little bit. So we both expected the Rampage to go into the jungle, but Reborn put that into the solo lane. And you said that you didn't actually mind it because J-Lee was able to become more of a carry, but what actually did he carry in the last game? Because Reborn ended up losing. What do you think it was the Wukong coming out of the jungle that was the problem, or the Rampage in the solo lane? Do you think that just changing that will put Reborn in a much better spot this time around?
Potentially. It definitely hurt them a lot in the terms that the Wukong never got to actually get his split push off because they lost too much early to mid where they actually lost those inhibitors and such. They didn't get to get the Wukong rolling for his split push and for his flank potential, so he never really came online per se. So with the Rampage in the jungle, maybe the Wukong may have he lost lane a bit harder, but he could have at least just maintained in the lane, and then the Rampage can then create pressure elsewhere, get them leads elsewhere to allow the Wukong to then come online. Whereas the Wukong in the jungle, he gets to come online, but then you've got this suffering Rampage in the lane who then doesn't get to assist the team with his very potent kit for ganking and objective control, basically.
We'll see if Reborn can remedy that here.
Picked up, yeah. The Faye pick here is very strong. We're seeing it picked instead of Gideon, which is quite interesting. They're probably expecting Oxygen to run the Moragesh again, and Faye does decently well into that. She can out-trade early with her Harvest Nettle, so a good pick up there. And they actually take the Revenant away, so they're removing this isolation factor that Oxygen have been working with, and they actually give that to their own carry. Yeah, for the sake of logic there.
I really like seeing Involve on the Fae as well, so I'm glad that we're going to be able to catch that this time around. And Team Oxygen will pick up the Moragesh once again for Arsenic, so it's not as much of a surprise this time around, but it still is fun to see Arsenic work with that hero and make sure that he can really make her shine here. It's always a fun thing to see players pick up heroes that might not necessarily be too far into the meta and still make them work as a hero, and I think that Moragesh is just kind of one of those for Arsenic, and it's going to be a Shinbi now for Reborn.
Shinbi.
Should be Reflect playing that in the solo lane.
Bellica. So, yeah, as you said, we see the Moragesh. She's being picked up a little bit more because of her speed buff and such, so she's definitely a bit more potent. Hopefully can avoid some of this pick potential mid lane again. But with the Bellica support, very potent with the Revenant. Revenant doesn't need as much peel, and Shinbi off lane is going to be matching against the Quang. She does lose lane a bit, but hopefully she can bring out some mid to late game assassination potential.
And meanwhile, Team Oxygen will be able to pick up the Wraith for their last pick. And it looks really strong to combo that with the Zinx, and yeah.
Which one will be carry, though? That's the real question.
Yeah, that's always a question.
Wraith support. Yeah, interesting. We'll have to see.
Well, we will see indeed as we get into game number 2. Let's start up in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yep.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 of our best of 3 series between Reborn and Team Oxygen. TO currently have the 1-0 advantage. Just kidding, that's Team Oxy, not TO. I'm hoping not to trigger my co-caster too much with that comment. But we will go through and introduce our teams. So Nazgul, we've seen him on the LT quite a bit before, but this time he's playing Bellica in the support role. We've got Reflect handling a Shinbi in the solo lane. J Leo is a AFK, so Rampage going into the jungle. We've got Logic, he's going to be playing a Revenant, and then finally Involve going to the mid lane with the Fae.
Yeah, and on the other side for Oxygen, we'll be seeing Phasma on the Zinc support, which means Strafe will be playing the Wraith carry with him in lane, Arsenic back on Morigesh in mid lane, Proficiency, this time with Quang in the solo lane, and Meds yet again on Grux in the jungle.
And what was Jay Leo waiting for? It looked like he may have been waiting for a little bit of gold before he
Wards.
made his way out of, made his way out basically. Does get the early lamp later, trying to put some early emphasis on having the map vision up.
Yeah, so the Rampage pick does clear quite quickly, as you can see, using his jungle either, I forgot what it's called now, King of the Jungle or something. He's able to take out that white camp very quick and move on to the black. So he doesn't really lose out on too much time there from waiting for the wards. And he can get a lot of vision control in the opposing side's jungle, especially if Meds is going to be rotating towards the black anytime soon. So it's quite nice to wait for wards there.
Early back it up on the solo Nazgul, who does manage to get the Seismic Assault to save himself, but that's already a lot of harassing damage that's been done by Team Oxygen trying to take control of the duo lane early.
Yeah, the Wraith and Zinx is going to be a very strong laning phase. The back it up guaranteeing the Ricochet. They have a ton of poke potential with the Zinx dot and the Wraith snipe, so they're going to be doing a lot of work in this laning phase. And I can imagine they should be having a decent time against this. The Belica, though, when she gets that drone leveled up, might be able to contend with them, as that can be a pain for the both the characters on the side of Oxygen.
And meanwhile for the solo lane, Reflect versus Proficiency. I believe the Shinbi eventually loses out on this matchup. I think Quang just has a little bit too much health for her to work against, but she is doing pretty okay in the early levels, trying to get some separation versus a Quang with the circle rhythm.
Yeah, she definitely has the potential to win out on the matchup. Her ultimate can swing the matchup a little bit in her favor, but it's all a bit more, dependent on whether Proficiency can actually play it well enough. He's playing well to his wave already, and I can imagine he should win out on the matchup, meaning Shinbi has to wait to scale a little bit more and maybe have the mid to late game split push advantage.
Jay Leo makes a quick little push over towards Med, sees that he's going for the black buff on that side, so there is a little bit of information gained by Reborn here, and Jay Leo will stay close to that side, but he won't be able to make his way over to the river buff in time, as Meds will go up and take the speed buff away from Reborn. There's still the amplification orb as well on the other side that Meds could go over and take for himself as well, but he's going to leave that for Arsenic, so both the first river buffs will be going to Oxygen in a very quiet start to the game.
Yeah, Meds is just going to go back to farming. J-Leo deciding to just farm it up a little bit. They got the wards to play passive now. And now Arsenic with this red buff is probably going to put a lot of pressure on mid lane against Involve here. He will have the advantage in the damage output, so Involve can't really go for the heavy trades and just has to poke away at his health pool there.
Is just at level 3 right now, so he can't be all out onto Involve, and you see him giving a lot of space right now. But as Involve starts to push up, you see Arsenic start to make the push over towards Involve and making sure that he can't really be as aggressive as he might like to. So Involve will have to be a little bit more careful there. Jay Leo does start to get the rotation back over to the duo lane, but he's going to walk right over a ward. So Team Oxygen will know exactly where he is on the map.
Yeah, he just backs away and goes back to farming, probably. I don't think there's too much on the map he can be doing here. We actually saw Arsenic there, just in mid. He was just clearing out the range. It might have looked like he was going for an engage there, but he just burning his mana and basically poking with the Hive and then going back to farming. So pretty safe play there. And all around, just standard laning, pretty safe farm. Meds is looking for an engagement.
Yeah, they're being very patient here. Phasma will be able to get the Ricochet stun. Can they get the smash grab? No, it was a great seismic assault from Selo Nazgul, and they decide to go over to the right side, right into Jay Leo's Rampage. But I don't know if it was quick enough, and they've already done a lot of damage to Logic. Jay Leo gets over to the side of Selo Nazgul, did get the seismic assault, but Jay Leo just didn't really trust him to actually be able to hit that, and also didn't have a rock to follow it up with anyway. So both teams will smartly disengage, make sure they don't take any more damage there.
Yeah, excellent play by Solo Nazgul there. He had a really nice stun there onto Meds to deny any form of engagement. Realised the other two had already used their crowd control, so denies the chain and then manages to keep his carry alive there just about. Unfortunately, no kill off the back of it there.
And so Nazgul is even continuing to avoid the aggression from Team Oxygen here as well. Yesterday we did see a bit more of a carry Zinx from Solo Nazgul as he went like 5-0 and something in their match yesterday, taking all the kills. Okay, Nazgul, we know you roll that way, but you don't need to to shout it that loud. But we'll see if he can have a similar game here.
Yeah, we'll have to see them. Actually, CJ Leo looking at mid lane here for Arsenic, but Arsenic also playing safe. And Oxygen, they're just playing the style they like to. They just like to farm up, play it nice and safe, look for just mini advantages where they can through the farm, and try and scale into mid to late game, just like they did last game. But Reborn, rather, just looking to do the same. And I guess we're going to be seeing more fights around Fangtooth this game.
Yeah, it's all about the objectives for these teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely more macro gameplay oriented here. It's very, very nice to see.
We do have a slight advantage over to the side of Reborn here. I guess they might have been taking advantage of the... Oh, actually, hold that thought, because Phasma's been caught out in the duo lane. Logic going for him. He's going to be able to get the Obliterate into a kill. Now, Strafe is having to back up. He could use the back it up defensively here on the Logic, but Jay Leo is going to go underneath the tower. He has the green buff. He's looking for the rock. The green buff gets popped, and Jay Leo is still tanking up. They'll get the double kill over on the duo, and meanwhile, Oxygen aren't able to find anything as Meds went over to Involve and still wasn't able to get that kill.
Yeah, Involve recognizing that his jungler's on the other side and needs to play safe, so he backs away. And Jaleo abusing the jungle rampage. This is what I would have liked to see from game 1 from Jaleo. The rampage ult is so good for abusing, just for tower diving. He can tank it for years, allow his team to just sweep under and pick up yet another kill. Really well played by them. Has good synergy with the Bellica Seismic Assault there of the rock. It's excellently well played by Reborn there. Really good early game pressure onto the duo lane there. And should cost Strafe a decent amount of farm.
Yeah, it will cost them, but Reborn need to make even more of these ganks hit. Haven't really been able to show us too much here in the early game. And I think they just need more of this against Oxygen, who are playing their normal style. Now with the Shadow Plane buff on the Arsenic, Involve could be in some trouble. Arsenic just kind of sneaks up there, gets the Mark and a Hive onto the Fae. Also, I'd like to mention that this is kind of the lore-based matchup where Morigesh is versus the Fae.
Yeah, that is true. Definitely very lore-based between these two. And they're quite interesting here, as they're both sort of lane bullies that want to just poke a lot and put a little bit of pressure onto each other. They have good nuke combos for each other and such, so it's a fairly even matchup in mid. It's more skill-based in that regards. If the Fae can pull off consistent Harvest Nettles, then she'll definitely be winning lane. If she definitely misses a couple due to maybe the Swarm from Morigesh or such, Morigesh can start winning the matchup. So it's very swingy in that regards, and it's always one that I like seeing between these two characters.
And it's not like when Morigesh was introduced where she just absolutely demolished the Fae and everybody else in that lane. It's much more of an even matchup now.
Yeah, Morigesh is definitely in a decent spot right now, and we're actually seeing Arsenic putting a lot of work through with her. I'm liking the pick. It's very strong for Oxygen's style of play here.
Well, if we take a quick look at the cards here, we see our Uru ones coming out, a couple of Flame of Zekins out, actually a lot of Flame of Zekins coming out for Team Oxygen right now. They're going to look to be putting that pressure onto Fangtooth, and I think they just need a pick-off too before they can go for that one.
Yeah, we're probably going to look at Proficiency pushing out this lane and rotating soon. We actually see Reflect, maybe Poison to do so, but I think he'll just rush back to lane. This could be Proficiency's chance to roam over. We actually see Meds coming towards mid.
Swarm is down for Arsenic. That is a nice ultimate from Involve. And Arsenic, though, is able to get out. He's going Race Cart, but the Nettle Snipe comes in from Involve. Oh. And that's going to be the kill going the way of Reborn. Can he get away from Meds here? Oh, no. Do you really want to Blitz Rush that way? Meds is going to continue to chase. Proficiency is there as well. And he's going to be able to get right into the faces of Fae. Now the Wolves are going around. Smasher Grab is going to keep Reflect there, as does a Ricochet stun from Phasma, but Solo Nazgul is there on the backside with the Seismic Assault to be able to keep Team Oxygen out of here. But here comes Jay Leo. He's got the Shadow Plane buff, this MVP of the buffs. Jay Leo's looking for the kill. He'd have to go around the side. Proficiency, might not know about it, but it doesn't really matter. Now Meds, as you said, going for the green buff here. Double Pain Weeable. What? He Flame a Zekind'd it. Are you kidding me? What? Okay, Jay Leo. All right. Meds is just like, all right, that's balanced. I'll keep going about my life here.
It's a fair steal there, Meds. Unfortunately losing out on that very cheeky play by Jay Leo there. But that team fight just drawn all over the map. And Arsenic just maybe a bit too overly aggressive in the mid. We actually see Logic here being ganked, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, but who's doing the ganking here? He's going right after Strafe. Will end up falling, but man, that was close.
Wow. That was very close. If Revenant gets that kill there, it doesn't even matter if he dies after. He gets so much out of it with the actual gold from ulting Strafe there. That could have really turned bad for Oxygen there, but luckily Strafe have the mechanics. They've got the snipe and picked up the kill there. Back onto Logic, and nice play by Oxygen there. Good rotation by Arsenic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Med's coming to mid.
He's getting on in there. Arsenic is getting some pretty good damage. The curse is going to come through, but Invol is going to respond in like kind with his fly trap of his own. But it doesn't matter. Arsenic has the damage to go, and he manages to get the 1v1 against Invol. Didn't even need meds to come on through.
Yeah, it's as I said, very even. It was very close there. Arsenic just going very low HP, just running out of mana to it, the perfect amount to execute that, and yeah, just happened to swing into his favor there, even with the ultimate from Invol there. Let's see Phasma.
Yeah, Phasma picks up the buff, but he may just have to pay for it. Green buff still on to Jay Leo, who wants to go after Strafe, who walks underneath the ward with the surprise, and luckily for Strafe, he has the back it up available to make Jay Leo get out of his own jungle. First Fangtooth hasn't been taken by either side yet, so that's definitely an objective that both these teams want to make sure they secure.
Yeah, it is interesting as well. We see Jay Leo running damage reduction here over the mana reactor now. So mana reactor did get nerfed, and mana cost did get sort of buffed for all junglers.
Beautiful smash and grab by Meds on the 2. So Nazgul is going to get chased underneath his own tower. Can Logic take this one? A couple knock-knocks are missing from the Wraith, and Meds is going to fall underneath the tower, but does give his team enough space here. Phasma dives the tower. They finally find Phasma with the... Well, they finally help Strafe to get the snipe, and now they just have to back up. But Phasma is in no man's land right now, and Invol will find him inside. Gets the blitz rush. Jay Leo gets the rock, and Reborn will get the kill.
Yeah, a bit greedy from Oxygen there, a bit overzealous on the dive there. They could have just been happy with the 1 kill onto Solonas going back away there, but they had to go for Logic there, and they actually lost 2 for that. Strafe having to use his ultimate to escape 2.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, Arsenic's going to get caught out by the fly trap, and Invol, with the help of Jay Leo, will find another kill there. You have to think the Fangtooth is coming soon.
Yeah, that fly trap securing the kill of the rock there. Very well played by those two. Arsenic didn't know it was coming, and very unfortunate for him because he was winning these 1v1s, and Jay Leo was swinging it around, and we actually see him starting up that Fangtooth now.
Yeah, they're starting it up. Oxygen still want to respond, but the vision is here from Reborn, and it's going to be difficult for them to get in on this one. Void Drone also popped down by Solo Nazgul, again making the punish even harder for Team Oxygen if they were to try to contest this one, but they know they can't, and the first Fangtooth of the game goes to Team Reborn.
Yep, there goes the first Fangtooth. Reborn get it. Yet again, we don't see the Prime this time coming from Oxygen, the cheeky 11-minute Prime they got last time. So they're not really going to get a trade for this, so this is definitely much better for Reborn here. They're in a much better position. Their Rampage is creating so much pressure, as we expected it to do. So very well played by Reborn so far, and we'll have to see how they continue up the pressure throughout mid-game.
Yeah, they definitely put themselves in a much better spot than last time. Taking a look at the cards once again, it is going to be
Zachin's wards.
Zachin's wards. We've got 7,000 gold in favor of Team Reborn this time around as well, which is gonna do them pretty well. But still, the minion kill lead is on Oxygen's side, as a lot of people would expect.
Yeah, and Invol will soon have his Amp Engineer. That's going to help him a lot when taking down targets like Med's Grux or Proficiency's Quang. He will melt targets much quicker then. He probably has any issue time in the 1v1 against Morigesh too. We'll have to see what sort of path Arsenic goes for. I presume he might be looking for the Plague Lord, especially against the Rampage from Jay Leo. So we'll have to see how those mid lane builds evolve, but I presume that's definitely an Amp Engineer from Faye with the Blitz Rush curve.
Yeah, we see a lot of Fays going for Amp Engineers as well.
Yeah, very strong card on her. She spams a hell of a lot of Harvest Nettles, and that allows a lot of procs of the Amp Engineer in her burst combo, instantly proccing it 4 times. That's going to be 48% of your current health and magic damage. Of course, 12, 12, 12, 12 as your health goes down, but still definitely very potent on that character, and probably the best card for her at the moment.
I still feel like in terms of the laning, it's been a relatively quiet game for the two teams. Haven't really seen a whole lot happening in the solo lane. Maybe Strafe and Phasma can find something here over in the duo, but Jay Leo is here already. And with the tier 1 tower falling, there's not going to be a whole lot for Oxygen to find, so they'll just back it on up.
Yeah, indeed. They just lose that tier 1 for free. They didn't want to take the risky fight with Jay Leo nearby. And Oxygen just seem to be biding their time, waiting for an opportunity. A mistake maybe they can capitalize on, and maybe look for the next Fangtooth or such.
Yeah, it's all about those mistakes. Now, other than the capitalizations that can occur when you get those pickoffs, what else can either team do to just set themselves up for the Fangtooth and make sure they're able to pick that up? Actually, hold that thought, because Jay Leo is lurking with the Shadow Plane buff once again. It's been the MVP, and Strafe is going to get caught out immediately. Not even a chance to use any abilities. Phasma's going to get just chilled as well. And he's going to get put right into the freezer in a body bag, as Reborn will probably want to preserve that one for a while, and it puts themselves in a great position to try to take the Fangtooth.
Yeah, excellent job by there, and the question got answered there. You looked for a pick for the easy Fangtooth there. They have the vision control for it. They can easily pick that up. Now, they might be looking for the greedy T2 here, but very well played by Reborn here, and that's a really huge advantage when they have a Revenant and a Rampage to get rolling.
You said a greedy tier 2, but it looks perfectly sane from Reborn. Yeah, it looks really good, as Involve also put in a little bit of work making sure that Meds wasn't able to get the wraparound. Now, they may try to go for an initiation, but it's difficult for a Grux to get into the fight nowadays, and it's difficult to initiate onto a Rampage anyway. Can they find anybody? Arsenic trying to move forward. Phasma's there as well. Maybe they get the Fangtooth off of this one with the aggression from Reborn, but it's just so difficult because Reborn really didn't give anything up for that.
Yeah, the Rampage ult will be up soon. It has a very low cooldown, and I think Oxygen realized this and just back away, go back to farming it again by the time they lost the tier 2. They weren't quite able to rotate in time for that, and maybe Arsenic here might be picked. Backs away with the Swarm.
Yeah, looks like they're fine.
There's
a lot of heroes congregating around the Prime Guardian. It doesn't really seem like the teams will go for it. With that D ward, I believe that Team Oxygen have to back up, but is it the bait? How long do they wait?
Might be the bait.
How long do they wait for Reborn to try? They put down another ward. The Judgment of the Heavens goes out on the J. Leo and Involve. The Fury comes through, but Involve didn't really take too much damage from it at all. Proficiency in the middle of everybody. Is it going to be good enough for him? Meanwhile, though, Reflect is being the one who's going to keep the rest of Oxygen away. The Wolf's going on the meds, but he's not going to die from it. Now can they get enough? Strafe trying to go for Phasma. Meanwhile, inside the lane, Proficiency was doing everything he could to try to keep everybody away, but now his zoning capabilities are incredibly decreased. Strafe around the backside, though. Look at this backtrack from the Wraith. He's being so aggressive as a carry. He will probably pay for it. He gets surrounded by the Rampage, uses the back it up. He's still alive! Are you kidding me? Strafe is going to be able to get away from the fight, and Phasma comes through to help him get away. How did Team Oxygen end up on the front side of that engagement? That's amazing how they just split up all the resources of Reborn and still managed to come out on top.
Amazingly well played by Oxygen. They're using their tools. Proficiency played really well there with the Quang, and then Logic, or Strafe rather, with that flank onto Logic there, picking up the kill. Very well played from Oxygen there. Good team fighting there. Very strong. All around the tier 1 turret as well. Very impressive.
And it didn't even involve the Prime Guardian going down at all. They didn't engage onto it, and they just managed to put Reborn back on their behinds. That's just Team Oxygen for you. They're going to take the fight all over. They win their 1s, they win their 2s, and they definitely win their team fights, and you can see it happening here.
Yeah, they played that very, very well, and they're, again, just sort of playing that sort of little style, just pick it off, separate the fight a bit more. It's sort of a split fight there, and they love those disjointed fights. So when you see Reborn trying to rush the OP here, don't think they'll be able to get it, though.
Yeah, they're trying to go for it, but they just can't go, because Team Oxygen, they know that that Prime Guardian could be getting aggressed on very soon, and they know to just go over that point on the map, make sure that Reborn are scared when they go for it, and they stop any kind of aggression there. And now Team Oxygen might be opening up for themselves.
Really well played by them there. They recognized the rush there. They had the side lane set, so they just go and collapse. As soon as Reborn move away, they collapse themselves. They're going to look for another pick off.
It's happening again. Reflect jumps on in, but he jumps into a bad time. Double smash and grab by Meds. They're going to take down Reflect. Now Strafe is going to get hit with the Reckoning, but he manages to get the back it up onto Logic, making sure that he goes all the way away. Solo Nazgul evaporates right next to the Prime Guardian, and finally Harambe will die.
Yeah, that super slow push they had on the side lane just was a ticking time bomb, and Reborn had to respond to it, so they rotate over. But they rotate way too many members, and then Oxy get the positioning on Prime. Excellent pull by Med, so that smash and grab was absolutely beautiful, and it allows them to get a few kills, secure this orb Prime, and even get some T2 pressure off of it. That's just a huge turnaround for Oxygen here.
Have huge turnaround. They're ready to get the jump pads down for Reborn, who were in this game much more than they had been in game number 1. It was much closer here. They even had the advantage at one point, but now with the Prime Guardian buff on the Team Oxygen, it's probably going to be the first inhib of the game falling here, unless Reborn has something to say about it, and they really don't. They can't even try to engage on the Team Oxygen. The tower is dead, and they're probably going to go over to left now, as that minion wave is very close, and the tower is already quite low.
And it's a free inhibitor yet again, and they pick up another tier 2. And they're probably just going to look to siege this. They do have the lane pushing towards them on right, though, so they're probably backing away. There is a Fang Tooth to take too, so they can just probably be happy with their mid inhib, a bit of the green side jungle, and maybe some more, unless they're maybe looking for a pick here. They have got the Wraith back it up.
It is
Oh,
possible.
proficiency around the back.
I'm actually frozen a little bit, so proficiency in Phasma. Going around the back here, there is a Void Rune popped down by Solo Naz, but Logic's already been chunked down, and he's going to be taken down immediately into this fight. Reflect in the middle of 3, but that's not really where you want to be against Team Oxygen. They have the Prime still on themselves. That involved Fly Trap is not really going to do a whole lot, but it does allow Reborn to back it up for now. So Nazgul will get hit with the back it up, smash and grab onto him as well. He's going to fall. Can Leo save this one by himself? Arsenic is going to keep on coming in with the marks, with the hives. He's forcing a rampage back. That's going to be the second inhibitor taken right now by Team Oxygen.
So well played yet again. They just juked it out, hidden the jungle a little bit there, made Reborn think they're just going to back away, go defend their right lane, take the Fang Tooth and get the easy objectives, but they're just sitting behind Fog Wars all the time, and then they get the nice flank around on the left lane to tier 2 down, get a few more kills, get another inhibitor, and it's just amazingly well played by Oxy. They're going to clean up another Fang Tooth here, and they're just going to look to the same thing in the first game, just set up on this last lane as a group, let the other lanes push in, there's no Wukong to de-push them anymore, and just look to try and end the game that way.
And they're doing so well here. Team Oxygen taking another Fang Tooth off of the map. They're making sure that there's very little to go the way of Reborn, no glimmer of hope at all. And Team Oxygen coming back into the scene in a big way. They've been absent for a little bit, but you know what? Maybe it was exactly the break that they needed, and the break that they needed to make sure that they came back as unpredictable as ever.
Yeah, it was. They definitely got much further behind. They lost that first Fang Tooth, and it looked like things were starting to collapse to them, and Reborn were really starting to come up. And then they just get that huge turnaround fight around OP, and then from there it all just collapsed to Reborn. And yeah, Oxy just taking really good fights for themselves, and using the Wraith as well. It just backs up their style again that we saw in the first game. They don't get Revenant, they get Wraith, and they just use the back it up to get the picks instead. So they're just constantly playing this, look for just one guy each time. If you get 2, even better with those smash and grabs and such, and it definitely allows them to win out on these team fights.
Yeah, that's the power of the Wraith. You get bonus kill after bonus kill. You keep on getting the back it ups, and you find one after another. That's just how Oxygen have been playing it, and that's something that teams have to learn. Even if you have a bit of an advantage against Team Oxygen, they're going to find a way to get themselves back in the match. They are so firm and resolute in how they play these games and how they come back. Rock is going to miss from Leo, and they might think about going on in here. He gets the Judgment of the Heavens on the 2 with the light on top of it. Oh my gosh, that Fury of the Heavens on the 3 as well. 2 members of Reborn just cleaned up immediately. They throw the rock on the Phasma, but that's a Zinx who is so tanky with the dirty healing, and that's going to be an easy take on the fight for Team Oxygen. Arsenic goes through mid. Reflect will try to stop the Margesh, but there's only so much he can do against her. And with a power play on Team Oxygen's side, it's going to be difficult for Team Oxygen to not win this fight. Reborn just stuck in their own core, hitting Arsenic with rocks, but again, the inhib will fall. The surprise it's not that much of a surprise any longer, because Team Oxygen have just dominated this game from about 10 minutes in, and they haven't given Reborn any way to get back on into it. Jay Leo will jump on in. He's gotten big, but he hasn't gotten big enough, and the core of his will be demolished. The second team to join Gao Esports in the grand final will be Team Oxygen.
Yep, 2 amazing games from Oxygen there. They get behind early, but then they just completely brute force it through this early to mid stage where they get these OPs and they get these surprise couple of inhibitors. Really well played by them, playing this pick comp style, and it definitely got Reborn this time.
Absolutely. Team Oxygen getting back on the scene in a big way, and I think a lot of people are more than pleased to see them back as well. So, our grand final is set. Gao Esports versus Team Oxygen. This is not a matchup we've seen yet, but it is one that I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see. Gao Esports, they are raring to go into this one, and I think Team Oxygen are ready as well. So with that being said, thank you for donating to the Match Arena, ladies and gentlemen. Still at $180 for the players to get some Happy Meals and etc. And thank you again for joining us at the PCL, watching these matches, supporting the players, and making sure that we have the best competitive experience for Paragon possible. You guys are great. You're all great. You're cute. And we'll see you all after a short break. Cheers, guys.